Saying goodbye to summer is always easy for me because the kids go back to school, the weather cools down just a little bit, and we start to lean into some of those spooky season reads. But before we do that, guys, we got to go ahead and close out summer by talking about the month of August. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back, another monthly wrap of this time for August of 2025. Was a fun month on the channel, and there's lots of things that went the way that I expected them to, and some things that did not. And I think that's always kind of a nice balance to have, you know, because if everything went the way that we planned, well, then life would be full of no surprises, and we do like surprises. At least we do here on this channel. But we're going to go ahead and get into it, guys. We're going to talk about what I read in the month of August. I did 5 novels and 1 manga, and it was a very, very mixed bag, I think, as far as genres, because I wanted to try to mix it up a little bit. It was one where I was like, okay, I was surprised. I had like a mystery, I had like some fantasy, I had a thriller, I had some horror, I had some sci-fi. You know, I think that's always a nice mix to have and keeps you from getting that dreaded B word, which is burnout. What did you think it was going to be? But let's go ahead and talk about each one by one here. The Disappearance of Winter's Daughter by Michael J. Sullivan. This is book number 4 of the ℓ𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕤 Chronicles. This is the Royce and Hadrian prequel series. Kind of, it's a little bit more in line with how I felt about book number 3, Death of ℓ𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕜, in that it's not bad. You can't have a bad book, I think, with Royce and Hadrian. And I like that Michael is starting to expand this map some more, showing us some things in Elon that we didn't get to see in Legends of the First Empire, some things we didn't get to see in the ℓ𝕤𝕤𝕤 Revelation. So it's cool seeing Royce and Hadrian visit some of those places that might be familiar from the prequel series. But with this, it's like, I think it's lacking a major villain because they are very standalone in nature now. It does feel very much a villain of the week kind of thing with this series. But I think back to like the first 2 books, ℓ𝕤𝕤𝕤 Chronicles, I just loved them. I don't know. So there's something about this is like, again, not bad, just didn't hit those heights of The Rose and Thorn or The Crown Tower, which I just loved. I was like, those stand right up there with the 6 ℓ𝕤𝕤𝕤 Revelations books. These, again, if I'm spending time with Royce and Hadrian, I'm enjoying myself. But I do think maybe it needs a little bit more of a central villain or something to kind of make it feel like Royce and Hadrian are trying to overcome something. I know it is very much just, hey, they're on a heist or they're on an adventure. They got some, you know, mission where they've got to, some job they've got to complete. That's really what ℓ𝕤𝕤𝕤 is, you know, too, in Elvish. But with this, is again, it was just another one of those where the mystery was fine. It wasn't really anything that was super going to be memorable, really, that you remember really a day after you finish it. The best part of this book is getting Hadrian's backstory. Hadrian's backstory, you know, here we are 10 books into reading ℓ𝕤𝕤𝕤, and it's like I'm still learning things about Hadrian that I didn't know I needed. So that was the best part of the book, and that's what really, really saved it for me, to where I say, if I'm ranking the 4 that I've read right now, this is a solid 3rd. So I liked it better than Death of ℓ𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕜, but not better than the first 2 books in the series. Conan the Conqueror, or Hour of the Dragon, depending on which version you are reading. You guys know I love me some Robert E. Howard. This was a reread for me. I read all the Conan stuff back in like 2019 and just ate it up and loved it. And instantly, Robert E. Howard became one of my favorite authors ever. With the Conan the Conqueror, this is a ℏ𝐿uminati read. This is Philip's pick for quarter 3 of the ℏ𝐿uminati. And I think Philip's actually started it, and I don't think the other 2 gentlemen have started it yet, but we're going to be talking about it here, I think, in about a week to 10 days or so. We'll be talking over Philip's channel. This is one for me. I love it because it is very much that story of, you know, hey, Conan's been everywhere. He's seen everything. He's the king of Aquilonia now. Things are, I wouldn't say boring, but, you know, it's just kind of this, whatever. And, you know, when he actually falls from grace a little bit, and he has to find out, hey, do I still have that dog in me? And I love stories like that, where you have a guy who used to be a warrior. You know, he's achieved all of his goals. He's kind of getting complacent, a little bored, and stuff happens, and you got to go back out and quest again. And this is a quest book, this is a revenge book, and this is all kinds of things. I love the story. It is the only full-length novel that Robert E. Howard did write in the Conan universe, and it was released posthumously, but it is a wonderful story, and I think it's one that you don't have to read any Conan stories to be able to jump into it. It's a really, really enjoyable story. And you can see that Robert E. Howard, ahead of his time, without a doubt. Disquiet Gods by Christopher Ruocchio. I've talked about it numerous times. It took me a couple weeks to finish this one, as a Sun Eater book usually does, but a very, very interesting experience, as all things are with a Sun Eater story. But I'm glad that I finally did get to it. It was about a 3-year break between Ashes of Man and Disquiet Gods. So, you know, all that lead up here for that gala that I will be hosting for Christopher in November. You can still buy your tickets, by the way. I got that link down below. if you guys want to join us. But I'm very glad I did read Disquiet Gods, and I am now set up for the final book in the Sun Eater saga. The Night Parade by Ronald Malfi. Don't think I got to tell you guys, I liked it. I mean, I haven't disliked a Ronald Malfi book yet. But Night Parade is very much that. If you like The Last of Us, if you like The Stand, you like Robert McCammon's Swan Song, I think you're going to find something like here, a father trying to protect his kid as the world enters a dystopian state, as we have that extinction event. It's always something that, it's a little kind of subgenre I love. I can't get enough of that. Some people might say they feel like it's too much like The Last of Us, or it's too much like The Stand or something like that. That's fine. Ronald Malfi can take a story that seems familiar to me, put his own Malfi spin on it, and I like it a lot. This has a lot of that parental stuff in it that really will hit you right here if you do have kids. And I have two sons. This is a father and a daughter, so I think it might be a touch different. But again, in the end, I think if you're a parent, you're a parent, and you know how much we care about our kids. This is just a dad, going to hell and back, doing hell or high water. He's going to protect his kid, and that's something that's going to resonate with me greatly. And the end of this book, if it doesn't hit you in the feels just a little bit, I mean, maybe Ronald Malfi might not be the author for you. The Colorado Kid, it's a fun word to say. The Colorado Kid, Stephen King. This is one of his true crime novels. This one, I think, if you go into it with a certain set of expectations, you're going to be very disappointed with it. You go into it thinking, oh, this is a mystery that we've got to solve. You're going to be disappointed with it. It's very much about the passing of the torch. It's like this almost like mythical urban legend story about this dead body that they found at these two guys that work in a newspaper, and they're kind of trying to break in this new investigative journalist and see how she would come to the conclusion to it. They have their theories, and they kind of want to see how she would piece it together, but there is no resolution to the mystery. If you're going to it wanting like some Hardy Boys or some Nancy Drew, you're not going to get that. Because I think you can look at it and be like, where do these cigarettes come from? And why was he in this state and stuff? If you are going to be like that, yeah, you'll probably be disappointed. I can see why this book disappoints so many people, because that isn't what the story is. The story is very much about them bringing along the new guard, the old guard passing the torch to the new guard. I think that's very much what the story is. The hardest thing for me with the story actually was getting used to the Maine lingo. I was like, do people in Maine really talk like this? And I've read so many Stephen King books by now, I think I'd be used to it. But this one, he really is just unapologetic about it. It is just full-on Maine accents, to the point to where the main character in the story almost says at one point she's thinking about quitting because she can't understand what they're saying. And they tell her, hang tough, you'll start to be able to understand it. And I think you do too. About 15, 20 pages in, you'll get what they are trying to say. But it's very, very interesting. If I ever go to Maine, I feel like I've got a little bit of a primer, but I still will struggle greatly. And the one manga was volume 4 of 20th Century Boys, ℓ𝕬𝕤𝕬𝕬𝕬. This is one that I've spoken about before. I read 3 of them last month. This month I only got 1 in. And that's what I do with manga. I go really, really excited with them. Look, I've just got so much stuff coming in October, November, December. Big, thick, heavy books that I just kind of said, yeah, I got to kind of ease off of that. So I plan to finish 20th Century Boys next year. It is on my series I Want to Conquer list that I made. But I only got 1 in this month. I like it's picked up much more. Volume 3, I kind of like, I don't know why you're shifting the characters where you are. 4 is giving you some of those answers. And it's got it's just multi-timelines. It's very Tarantino-esque. And then, we got multiple timelines. Sometimes we got timelines within those timelines of jumping back and forth between all these characters, seeing what they did when they were teenagers, when they were very, very young, when they were in their 20s, when they're in their 40s. It's a very interesting concept, but it's one of those that by now he's not holding your hand, but I'm enjoying the ride that he has provided so far. So that's everything, guys. But as you know, there can only be one book of the month. This one, it was I don't want to say it was a tough decision, because I think I thought it was going to be, and I figured it out really, really quick. But like if you watch the weekly updates, as always, you know what this is going to be. For me, I'm very much I like to be along for the ride. I like to be a reader for fun. I'm not really a deep diver unless it's something I'm really, really crazy into. Well, Christopher said, too bad. You're going to have to deep dive to understand these books. I think this is with me, Disquiet Gods. I think this is the 3rd time a Sun Eater book has been my book of the month, because I know I did Disquiet Gods when I first found it, and then I think I did Kingdoms of Death as well. There might have been Demon in White, because Demon in White is my favorite Sun Eater book. With this one, when I finished it on the weekly update, I said, I don't think I could rank it so far. I said, gun to my head, I would say it's probably my 3rd favorite Sun Eater book, but it has a potential to move up to number 2. It doesn't beat Demon in White for me. It could beat Empire of Silence for me. I don't know. This is one of those where I have the same thing I have every Sun Eater book. Since book number 2, since Howling Dark, once it got really, really deep, I had the thing in this book where I went from, this is really awesome, to, oh no, am I smart enough to read this series? Am I going to have to like DNF it? I was never going to DNF it, but I was like, I felt a little intimidated because I get this every Sun Eater book. There's a section around the 1/3 to 2/3 mark where, what is that? Where there's always a section of the book where I'm saying, I don't know if I understand exactly what's going on. So it forces you to dive a little deep. I've never read Gene Wolfe. I've never really, Alistair Reynolds, Peter F. Hamilton, anything that you consider hard sci-fi, Ian Banks, I've never really gotten it. Besides Frank Herbert, I've never really been into deep reading in sci-fi. I'm very much a surface level reader. Give me the pew pew bang bang spaceships go boom. I read too much Star Wars, watched too much Star Trek. So that's the kind of sci-fi that I'm used to. So with a book like this, it forces you to reread passages, to think about it, to stop. It takes me a while to read a Sun Eater book. It's like I said, I can't binge something like this. I don't audio, so I have to read this with my eyes, and it takes a while because I have to go back and reread sections. I have to stop and think about them. I have to take very, very small bites with a book like this, and this is no different. What this book does around the 2/3 mark is go completely bananas in the best possible way. And I think it's going to be one of those moments where it either works for you or it does not. For me, it worked. For me, this is the first time. I hear so many people compare this series to Dune, and I'm like, I'm a Dune aficionado. I don't see very much Dune in here unless you're really squinting hard. With this, I think this is the first time I had that moment where like, this feels like something that Frank would have done. And that's around the chapter 40 mark or so. It's very, very interesting what he does. And it makes you, it's one of those things where it isn't difficult to understand, but it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. So unlike the Watcher stuff earlier in the book, I understood everything that was going on in that section. But I was just like, wow, this changes everything. So it's one of those where Christopher continues to just kind of keep upping himself and just like how far, how epic in scope he can take this series. But I think that Disquiet Gods, I can see now why some people say it's their favorite book in the series, and some people are like, I don't know about it now. I can understand that. So Christopher took some big swings. He didn't have his Dark Tower moment, so I'm happy for him. But he took some big, big swings in here, and I am very, very anxious to see how it does resolve with the final book. I have the final book in my hands now. That's what's exciting, guys. That event that Adrian talks about in the very first page of the very first book, I have that resolution in my hands. And how soon will I be picking it up? Well, hopefully it can be before that gala I talked about in November. But yes, book of the month, any book that makes you think this hard and takes the big, big risks and swings that he does and makes you really, really think about, wow, he really went there and he really pulled it off. This is Frank Herbert writing the Silmarillion, guys. That's what Sun Eater is going to be for me going forward. It really, really makes you think about things. And I can't really ask for much more of my sci-fi. I wanted to change the way that you think about things. So I became a Michael Crichton fan. He changed the way that I thought about things. This isn't necessarily going to influence my life the way that like something like Dune did, where it shaped my whole worldview, but it's definitely having me take a different perspective on some things. And I think it's about the most you can ask for from a science fiction saga. And Disquiet Gods, guys, book of the month, because this one, it's out there, but it's out there in the best of ways. How about some of the most popular content for the month, guys? I put out 13 videos this month. June and July were really good months. August, it kind of slipped a little bit. And, do what I always do. You do have to turn the page and just try again next month. But let's go ahead and look at the ones that were decent for this month, for the month of August. The top 5 here. Classic books I'm avoiding and why. That has 13,000 views as of this recording. That is one really where I wasn't taking a swing at these classic books or saying that they were bad, because I know some of the comments you would think that I said they were bad, because I had lots of the, I can't take your opinion seriously anymore. That's going to happen. But I was never saying anything bad about these. Just talking about why I've avoided them up to this point, be it intimidation, be it just, I just know it's not going to be for me, be it feedback, people tell me I won't like it, or just, sometimes it's just up to length and cast size and the number of names and how difficult those names are to pronounce and expectations and the fear of being the only one who doesn't like something that is considered just a genuine classic. That's something that I think everybody has. So I like classic books. I've done videos on this channel where I gush about classic books that I love. So this was definitely not meant to be like a hater video. This is very much this is why I haven't attacked these classic books yet. But, you know, I never say never. You never know. These might happen. Conquering My Unfinished series. I spoke about this earlier. 13,000 views. This is one where every single year I've been doing this, you know, new series I plan to start next year in permanent ink, where I'm going to start them no matter what. And I'm doing like 10 to 12 of those. And you know what? After 3 years of that, I'm like, I don't have any room now to continue any of these series because I'm starting so many new series. And I'm doing that thing back when I first started this channel. I started like 9 book ones and I finished maybe 3 of those series. So I said, I want to make next year, 2026 is going to be all about finishing some series. Now, I'm going to start a few new ones. It's just going to be lesser than previous years, but I'm going to be focusing on finishing the series that I spoke about in that video. Some you would expect, some I think would surprise some people. Some I will actually be trying for a third time. You know, so there are different avenues there to explore, but I'm very happy with the choices that I made, and the feedback I got is a lot of people saying they either want to continue those series with me or they're going to, you know, get up to where I am so they can catch up and read with me. And that's always the goal here. I love it when you guys do read with me. You know, it's a lower month when your previous month's wrap up is one of your biggest videos. 12,000 views. I don't get that. That's abnormal. Wrap up videos, they aren't for everybody. I understand that. So it's unusual when one of those do well. So I don't know what made people click on that video more than usual. But hey, thank you. I love the wrap-ups. I love talking about what worked and what didn't. Most popular videos and things like that. Picking my book of the month. That's always exciting. But it's unusual, I think, when you have one of those in your top 5 videos. Why you should read the Dsrezhden Files. That's at 9,000 views as of this recording. That's surprising because the first 48 hours is usually when a video does its best. And I think this had like 1,500 views in the first 48 hours. So I was like, maybe everybody's read Dsrezhden Files. So I don't know if it got picked up somewhere. It had more success, like I said, on TikTok than it did here. So maybe some of the people on TikTok found that clip and clicked over here and watched the full video. If that's the case, that's great. Then TikTok's doing what I'm hoping that it will do. But by now, if you haven't read Dsrezhden Files, watch that video and it'll tell you all the reasons I think it would probably be a fit for you. Because if you are a viewer of this channel, pretty sure you like the things that I like. I'm pretty sure you're going to like the Dsrezhden Files, so check it out. And then lastly, my July book haul is at 9,000 views. Book hauls usually find a way to sneak into the top 5 because people do love them some sexy books. And stay tuned because we'll be doing those August ones here pretty soon. And there's some sexy books in there that I think you guys will be very, very impressed with. But as with always, a book haul is my opportunity to say thank you to all those who send me something because you don't have to do that. It's just out of the goodness of your heart that you do it. And I can't say thank you enough. And that is really the whole point of a book haul. How about some September goals for me, guys? I am excited for once fall hits. My wife and I do all of our spooky season movies. I start doing my spooky season reads. What we started doing with the movies is we will start first day of fall, which is the middle of September. And sometimes we'll go through the beginning of November. Now, if we don't get them all in, we don't have to do everything starting October 1st and ending October 31st. So I thought, why don't I do that with books? So that's why I moved in some horror stuff in the middle of this month. Because I felt like it'd be a nice, easy lead-in to spooky season where the real horror starts. So I got some horror-adjacent stuff to start, maybe some horrific fantasy that didn't even really call horror, then like a thriller, then like a horror book, and then we got all the horror in October, and maybe slide out of it with a little horror fantasy with Jay Kristoff in November, you know. So I think that this is going to be a good plan, and I'm very, very excited about spooky season. As always, guys, Halloween's my favorite holiday. I can't get enough. I love the horror genre. I'm glad I'm reading more horror authors. And that's what I think September is going to be exciting because we just get to start dipping into some of those and checking out some of these other books that I've been putting off for a little bit. I'm trying to get off the decks before spooky season does start. But maybe some goals would be to try to find some topics of greater interest. Like I said, I don't feel like some of my video ideas didn't really seem to resonate with the audience in August. So, you know, try to find some new ones, find something to do. Like I said, all you can do as a content creator is if something doesn't work, turn the page, try again. You know, try something new. You know that isn't what your audience is looking for. Learn from it. That's what I've been doing for 6 years now, and I hope to continue to do until you guys don't want to tune in anymore. So, guys, that was the month of August. Love to know what you read. What was your book of the month? Did you read any of these with me? What was your favorite? Go ahead, drop down below and let me know. But please, no spoilers for Sun Eater, because I know there's lots of people catching up. And anyway, go ahead and let me know if you guys liked Disquiet Gods or not, because I thought it was brilliant, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. So hit me in the comments, guys, and I will talk to you there.